Childhood of Jesus, the Gospel of James, Biographical Gospel of the Lord. Chapter 128. Joseph discourses on the wonders of creation. After peace and order had thus been restored all around, the baby sat up and said to Cyrenius, "Listen to me, you noble-hearted man. Do you still recall how I pulled my brother James by the hair? See, then you wanted me to pull your hair also. I promised you that, and see, now I am already keeping my promise. For all the little surprises which have since come your way are nothing else than the promised hair pullings. And when these come and are again sent your way in the future, then remember these my words, and fear nothing, and never become angry. For you will not lose a hair by it. To whom I do this, him I love, and he has nothing to fear, whether in this or in the other world." The tears came to Cyrenius's eyes at this explanation of the baby, and he could not help himself for sheer love and gratitude. Many of the bystanding pagans also heard these words of the baby, and were surprised beyond all measure how it was possible for this baby of 3 months to speak with such perfect wisdom and great clarity. A few turned to Joseph and asked how it happened to be that this baby was able to speak so perfectly at such an early age. At this, Joseph shrugged his shoulders and said, "Dear friends, all over the earth, and especially in the realm of life, the greatest wonders may be seen here and there. They do in fact take place before our very eyes, but who can determine the secret laws of a creating deity by which he effects these things? Truly, we, as ourselves the greatest wonders, tread countless wonders daily with our feet, and hardly notice them. Now which of us knows how these countless wonders of creation come into being? How the grass, how the tree, how the worm, how the gnat, how the fish in the water? Truly, nothing remains there for us than to behold the wonders and to praise, honour and worship that great and holy Master Builder." This explanation of Joseph put the inquiring pagans completely at ease, and from this moment they looked at all of nature with altogether different eyes. They then dispersed to all sides of the mountain clearing and observed the wonders of creation. And Cyrenius secretly turned to Joseph and asked him if he really did not know more here than he had told. Of this Joseph assured him and advised, "Turn to the baby in this matter. He will surely give you the best explanation." Chapter 129. He is the image of the invisible God. And Cyrenius, in all humility, turned directly to the baby and inquired, "Oh, my life, my all! See, even though one knows who you are, it is still too unheard of and wonderful that you, a baby of 3 months, are able to speak ever so perfectly and wisely. I would like to be enlightened a little in this matter by you on this mountain where so many wonderful things have already happened. Would you not tell me something about this?" The baby replied, "See, there at Joseph's side are the 2 servants. Turn to them, and they will tell you about that." Cyrenius promptly followed this advice and turned to the 2 youths in this matter. And these said, "See, that is a matter pertaining only to heaven. Even though we tell you about it, you still will not be able to understand it. For natural men can never comprehend what pertains only to heaven, because their spirit is not yet free, but is imprisoned by all the substance in the world. And you also are still for the most part natural, therefore you will not grasp what we will tell you. Now you want to be informed about it, so we will also inform you at the Lord's bidding. But we cannot give you the understanding, because you are still a natural man. So hear us. See, The baby as he is, in his human nature, cannot speak to you for quite some time as a natural human being. That he will be able to do only halfway in a year. But in the child's heart dwells the fullness of the eternal Almighty Deity. Now when this baby speaks audibly and most wisely to you, the to you visible child does not speak, but the Deity speaks out of the child into your, for that purpose, awakened spirit. You then become aware of the words just as if the to you visible baby were speaking. But this is not so, for here only the to you invisible Deity is speaking. What you suppose is coming from outside of you, that you are hearing only within yourself. And that is the case with everyone who hears this baby speak. Now, so you may convince yourself of that, just stand as far away from here as you like, where it would not be possible to hear the baby's natural voice anymore. And the baby will then speak to you, and you will hear him in the distance just as plainly as close by. Go and convince yourself of that. And Cyrenius, while in fact not understanding anything of the whole matter, went about 1,000 steps away on the mountain plateau. There he suddenly heard the call of the baby quite loud and clear, which sounded as follows. Cyrenius, turn back again as fast as you can, for beneath the spot over which you are standing is a cave filled with tigers. These are beginning to scent you, so hurry back before they catch sight of you. Upon hearing this, Cyrenius immediately fled back as fast as the wind and now stood there quite bewildered. He wanted to ask further, but in the end he did not know what he actually should ask about, for this experience was just too strange to him. Chapter 130. Love alone can comprehend the Lord. The two youths now said no more, but this explanation made Cyrenius too curious to let matters rest. After a while, when he had gathered his wits again, Cyrenius asked the two youths, Most exalted servants of God, quite surely from eternity, your explanation is too wonderfully sublime and attracts all that is alive in me to such an extent that I cannot be content with what you have told and shown me. I now do indeed fully perceive that I am a natural man of worldly intellect, wholly devoid of all higher wisdom, who sees hardly the span of a hand further than he can reach. But should it not be possible to provide me with a little more insight? I therefore ask you most humbly to do this for me. Open for me a greater ability to comprehend which is surely hidden within me, so I might at least understand what you have told me more plainly. The pair replied, See, you otherwise so dear friend and brother, here you ask for something that is impossible before its time. For as long as you still walk in the flesh, you can never comprehend matters of the highest divine wisdom. Consider the Lord God, who here dwells in this baby in all of his infinite and eternal fullness, to have countless myriads of most glorious and gigantic worlds and earths, the infinitely smallest part of which you see in the night time as little stars in the sky, which he could have chosen for his incarnation as he did this earth. And despite this, he has chosen this meagre earth, which, in fact, is the most miserable and inferior among all the countless spheres in every respect. But thus it has pleased him, the eternal Lord of infinity, to do. He did it, as is manifest before our eyes. Now, do you suppose that he needed either our counsel or our agreement for that? See, that would be a basically false thought. He does what he wants alone from eternity, and never has anyone been his counselor. Now who can ask him and say, Lord, what are you doing, and why you do it? He is in himself eternally the highest perfection, the highest wisdom, the greatest love and gentleness. He is in himself the only most high power and might. One thought of destruction in his breast, and everything instantly sinks back into nothing. And behold, here he allows himself as a weak child of man to be coaxed on the arms of a frail Jewish maiden. And he who provides countless suns, worlds, and beings of infinite description with life-giving, most wisely appropriate nourishment, most generously from eternity, does himself here on this meagre earth suck the frail breasts of a 15-year-old maiden. He, as the primal life of all life, has himself put on the garment of death and of sin, and has hidden himself in flesh and blood. Now, what do you say to that? How does that seem to you? Would you not like to have a clearer explanation of that also? But as little as you will ever comprehend that in its full depth, just that little can any more be told you here concerning the early speaking of this most high child. Love him instead with all your might, and betray him nowhere, and you will then find something in this love which otherwise all the heavens will not be able to reveal to you in eternities. These words filled Cyrenius with such a tremendous respect of the child that he immediately fell down before him and said in tears, "O Lord, I am eternally never worthy of such grace which I enjoy here." And the baby said, "Cyrenius, stand up, and do not betray me. I do indeed know your heart, and love you and bless you. Therefore arise." And Cyrenius promptly arose, altogether trembling from love and esteem.